Congratulations, you're moving to the next level. Your next opponent is... you...
If someone asked you to name the strangest thing you've ever seen in football, you'd probably think of last-minute goals, controversial refereeing decisions, or unbelievable comebacks. But what if just before a World Cup match, someone publicly claimed they could use magic to stop one of the world's best strikers? It sounds unbelievable, yet that's exactly what happened before England faced Ghana at the 2026 World Cup. A man claiming to be a traditional Ghanaian spiritualist appeared on camera and boldly declared that he had performed a ritual to stop Harry Kane from playing at his best. The video quickly spread across social media, attracting millions of views. Some people laughed, others believed it was nothing more than psychological warfare. But in parts of Africa, where traditional spiritual beliefs remain an important part of the culture, many people took the claim seriously. Stories involving so-called juju rituals have surrounded African football for decades. There have long been rumors about lucky charms, pre-match ceremonies, and traditional rituals believed to bring success on the pitch. Whether those stories are true or not has never been proven, but they've always been part of football folklore. As soon as Harry Kane's name became part of the story, international media picked it up. News outlets around the world reported on the bizarre claim. Some treated it as entertainment, others saw it as an example of how different cultures view football. Meanwhile, England's players ignored the noise and stayed focused on the match. But online, fans couldn't stop talking about one question. What if Harry Kane failed to score? Would people actually believe the ritual had worked? And when kickoff finally arrived, every eye in the stadium was fixed on one man, Harry Kane. Had the Ghanaian spiritualist really done the impossible? Or was the entire story about to disappear after 90 minutes? Let's find out. The match finally kicked off. From the very first whistle, all eyes were on Harry Kane. Every touch of the ball created reactions online. Let's see if the magic actually works. If Kane doesn't score today, that Ghanaian spiritualist is going viral. But football is decided on the pitch, not by rumors. England controlled most of the game, but Ghana defended with discipline and intensity. Chances were limited on both sides, and Kane found very little space to operate. Despite the pressure, he still tried to influence the game with his movement and link-up play. When the final whistle blew, the match ended in a 0-0 draw, and immediately social media exploded. Some fans joked, so the magic didn't make Kane score, but it also didn't let England win. Others turned it into memes, and the story went even more viral after the match than before it. Then came the twist. The Ghanaian spiritualist refused to back down. He claimed his ritual worked because Harry Kane failed to score. Of course, there is no credible evidence that supernatural rituals can influence football matches, but stories like this survive because football has always had a strange relationship with superstition. Players follow routines, lucky boots, and personal rituals to feel more confident. Some pray before kickoff, some stick to strict habits before every match. Do these things change results? Probably not, but confidence can change performance, and that is why these stories never fully disappear from football culture. But if that story sounded strange, the next one was even more fascinating. This time, there was no talk of magic. Instead, fans became obsessed with Japan's head coach in the 2026 World Cup. Hajime Moriyasu once again found himself leading Japan in one of the toughest competitions in football. And once again, Japan were placed in a brutally difficult group alongside football giants. Very few expected them to go far, but Moriyasu had a different approach. He stayed patient, trusted his system, and focused on controlling the flow of matches rather than forcing early dominance. What looked like cautious football at first was actually a long-term plan built for key moments. He managed the game intelligently, waiting for the exact moment to change the rhythm in the second half. And once again, fans started comparing him to Light Yagami from Death Note because it felt like he was always one step ahead of everyone else. And that comparison quickly went viral across social media. So why did Japan's coach become such a huge talking point again in the 2026 World Cup? The answer comes from a series of matches that completely changed how people viewed Japan's football identity. In the group stage, Japan once again found themselves against top-level opponents, where every match felt like a final. And just like before, they didn't try to dominate from the first minute. Instead, they played with patience, discipline, and control. In one of their key matches, Japan went into halftime behind on the scoreboard. On paper, nothing looked unusual. The stronger team was leading, and most fans expected the game to continue in the same direction. But in the dressing room, something shifted. Moriyasu made bold tactical changes. He adjusted the structure, changed the tempo, and introduced fresh players who completely altered the rhythm of the game. And suddenly, everything changed. Japan came back into the match. The momentum flipped. The opponent started struggling to keep up with the intensity. And in the second half, Japan turned the game around. It was one of those performances that shocked the football world again. A few days later, another similar story followed. Japan delivered another strong performance against a top European team, proving that their success was not a coincidence. It was a system, a plan, and a coach who trusted it completely. After these performances, social media exploded again. Clips of Moriyasu spread everywhere, and once again, fans started comparing him to Light Yagami from Death Note. The reason was simple. Every tactical adjustment felt calculated, every substitution felt intentional, and every second half looked like a completely different game. Comments flooded in. He's always 3 steps ahead. It's like he already knows how the match will end. Everyone else is reacting. He is planning. Of course, these comparisons were not literal. They were a way of expressing admiration for his tactical intelligence and calm decision-making under pressure. But when you look at the bigger picture of both stories, the contrast becomes clear. In the first story, people talked about magic, about rituals, about unseen forces that supposedly influenced the game. But in reality, there was nothing supernatural involved, only pressure, psychology, and interpretation of events after the fact. In the second story, there was no magic at all, just planning, discipline, timing, and tactical decisions made at the right moments. That is what made the difference. And maybe that is exactly why football is so powerful, because it can turn a simple rumor into a global debate, and a tactical decision into something that feels almost legendary. At the end of the day, matches are not decided by spells or superstition. They are decided by preparation, teamwork, intelligence, and execution on the pitch. And that is what makes every World Cup unforgettable, because every tournament gives us stories like these. Some real, some exaggerated, some turned into memes, and some so strange that they feel unreal, but all of them become part of football history. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next football story. And now I want to hear from you. Do you think moments like this are just coincidence and psychology? Or do you think football still has a place for superstition even in 2026? See you in the next video.